Well, this weekend, welterweight champions and rivals, The Truth, Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Bud Crawford, they're going to put their world championship belts on the line to determine who's going to be the undisputed champ. Listen, it's a showdown you don't want to miss. Everyone always asks me who's going to win this fight. Well, who do you think's going to win? I tell you what, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and check out today's video sponsor, DraftKings. They're offering new customers who bet $5, $150 in bonus bets instantly. Get in on the action this weekend by downloading the DraftKings app. And don't forget, use my promo code TLS.
It's The Last Stand. And here is your host, Brian Custer.
That's right. It is The Last Stand. I'm Brian Custer. We bring you the biggest names in the sport. You know, joining me today is the best when it comes to the sport of boxing trainers. He is the 2022 Boxing Writers Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year. He's none other than Derrick James. DJ,
hey,
back on The Last Stand. How are you?
Happy to be here, man. Very fortunate. Happy to be here.
Man, finally on the cusp of making history here.
Right.
You got to air
Again.
Again.
Yeah.
But this is something that he's talked about a lot, wanting to be the undisputed. You tell me why. Everyone looks at Bud Crawford, pound for pound, best fighter in the world, knockout percentage. He's stopped everybody he's faced. Why Errol Spence winning this fight?
Well, Errol Spence is winning this fight, first of all, because if you can say he knocked out all these guys in the welterweight division, but none of those guys will probably be allowed to fight Errol Spence. None of those guys would be allowed to fight Errol Spence. So think about that. That's the truth. I mean, not any of them.
Besides Kell, besides Sean Porter?
Well, that's old news.
Yeah.
I mean, so Kell, Brooks, Sean Porter, okay, I'm talking about any of the other guys.
Got it.
Wouldn't be allowed to fight Errol. Nobody would watch him.
So you think resume alone and everything that he's been through, what Errol's, I'm talking about walking through the fire, so to speak, to get to this point, that means something in a fight of this magnitude.
I'm not going to talk about the resume. I'm just going to say this, is that Errol fought champions. He fought everybody he fought to make this happen. He's the reason why it's happening, because regardless of what he said, Derrick, you can't hide. What are we hiding from? Errol said, I'm going to beat everybody on the side, and then I'm going to come get you. So what Errol did was beat champions. He just fought nondescript opposition to hold on to his belt.
That press conference, man, got spicy, and you heard Brian Bomac kind of take a jab at you.
What did he say about me?
Well, just, hey, look, I can't wait to go up against this, this Derrick James, the so-called, best trainer. You guys can't hide anymore. It almost you get
envy and jealousy.
I was going to say, you get a sense that he feels that he's being disrespected, or maybe people have not respected him enough for what he's done with Bud Crawford.
I think that, put it like this, he feels a certain way about me, right? But I'm a real guy. He should have been nominated possibly more when he had Jamel Herring and Crawford, but they didn't. I don't know why the boxing writers didn't. So I think he was nominated once before, but I said, listen, he should have been. So regardless of whatever, I can not like you, but be honest. I could not like how you come at me, but be honest. I could fight you, but be honest. And so he should have been, and I think that maybe he feels as if they probably disrespected him or whatever, or just really overlooked him. But I think that, like I said earlier, they have a small town attitude, right? They feel like they got to prove everything to everybody else. In reality, you have a champ for 10 years. Nobody in New York, nobody in Florida, Chicago, L.A., Detroit, wherever you want to talk about, has had a champ that long. So you don't have anything to prove to anybody. But it's the level of insecurity within you that feels like you have to. Because listen, I'm at only one in the world with had 2 unified champs, undisputed. Jamel's been the champ for 7 years. Errol's been the champ for 6 years. I go to New York. I don't care about that. I mean, what am I going to do? They're not doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I don't have to prove anything. I know who I am. I think that they feel as if they've been overlooked. And in certain circumstances, they have been. I believe so. But I think at the same time, I think that you don't have anything to prove to anybody because you're here now.
Yeah.
And you've had a chance for 10 years, and y'all been able to do it. Did with Jamel Herring for like a year or two. I mean, that's good. That's beautiful. But I mean, I don't know.
You listen. You're such an expert in this sport. You've looked at a lot of video when it comes to Bud Crawford. You know everything that Errol can do. Based on that, in your opinion, this fight comes down to what?
I think the fight comes down to Errol being smart, Errol being consistent. I mean, and for him to be victorious, he has to be consistent. I mean, I think he can wake up in the middle of the night, be himself, right? But I think Crawford has to be the one who has to be more than he has shown. I just believe that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think he's a great fighter, but I think that Errol has to be consistent, and Crawford has to be just as consistent.
What is it that separates Errol Spence Jr. from Bud Crawford, in your opinion?
I think that Errol's fortitude. I'm thinking Errol, his resilience, he feels like he got to get back, right? He's not going to be. He always has something to prove. And listen, just like with us, think about this. Everybody in this space has been doubted. We're the underdog. Listen, I don't care about that, because the people who are placing us as the underdog don't live the life we live. They probably wish we did. The betting odds, those people in the behind or whatever, they're not living like us. Crawford, what do y'all? They don't have nothing to prove to nobody. We don't have anything to prove to anybody. Come out here, fight the fight we know we're going to fight, and be successful. That's it.
Why do you think that? Why do you think? I mean, you have the unified champion. He's got 3 of the belts. Why do you think he's the underdog? Is it because people look at the car accident and they say, "Oh, I don't know if he's all the way back," things of that nature, that they have him as the underdog?
I just think that people think that Crawford can do more. I mean, I think that people like the Flash. Like Errol, if you think about it, Errol is like he says, is like a Tim Duncan. Very boring, but he gets the job done. Nobody likes to stick him. Nobody can hold him.
Right.
So so the thing about it is, they like the Flash. Man. Everybody likes the Flash. Everybody likes the things that glitter, right? But the guy who's consistently, like they say, Larry Bird has the 3-pointer. That's all he needs. Errol Spence is basic. That's all he needs.
What does this say about Errol Spence Jr.? He beats Bud Crawford and becomes the first undisputed welterweight champion of this 4-belt era. What does it say about him as a fighter?
Well, I don't live my life with an if, but we're gonna get you right. So when he beats him, it'll just prove that he set out to do what he said he was going to do. What he said he was going to do. He said he was going to be the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. He's got 3 of the belts, and you can't be so close and not get what you came to get. So he's going to take it, snatch it, whatever it takes, he's going to get it.
Derrick, what makes you so successful? I heard you in the All Access say, I'm not just a trainer, I'm also a teacher. What makes you so successful?
Hey, everybody, I'm Brian Custer. Our next partner, Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. You think I got like this overnight? No, it's because of AG1. And I wanted to try it because I wanted better gut health, increased energy, immune system support. I take AG1 in the morning before starting my day, and it really makes me feel like I'm doing something good for my body, like covering all my nutritional bases, and it's great before your workouts. It's made with 75 super high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients that deliver benefits like mood, immune system, and sleep support, sustained energy, and really so much more. Really quickly, I noticed that it helps me with improved digestion, and I feel great, and it helps support my sleep. I like that AG1 is delivered monthly, so I don't even have to think about it. So if you want to take ownership of your health, today is a good time to start. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 travel packs to go with your first purchase. All you've got to do, go to athleticgreens.com athleticgreens.com/laststand. That's athleticgreens.com/laststand. And check it out.
Well, I think that because I first of all, I removed myself from the equation, meaning that I never referenced what I used to do to my fighters, what I used to do as a fighter to them. So, because in that place, it's like we're in competition. And they're like, what? You can say I can't? I said, no, I would never say that. So for me, it's like more about just doing my best to be healthy, doing my best to be fit, to be able to push these guys to another level. And I have to push myself to another level. But I think at the same time, you have to be able to be in the moment and go in there and not be a trainer, but a teacher, meaning that I don't like trainers yell at people, right? Coaches yell, trainers get you in shape, and teachers do both of those and teach. So that's the difference. See what I'm saying? So I have to be able to go in there and be conscious and focus on what am I going to attain today with him? What am I going to do with him today? What am I going to make him think about? And that's the key element, not working him out. Because you work him out, just get him in shape.
I remember the last time we had this conversation, there was rumors that Anthony Joshua was interested
Right.
joining the camp.
Right.
Now he's part of the camp.
Right.
You've already had a fight.
Right.
What's it been like?
You know, he's a hard worker, man. He's a guy who won't even go to the fight because he's working out, doing therapy. Like, he works out hard, he does therapy. I mean, he's really, like, to see what he does on a consistent basis to go out and fight, and people say he doesn't want to fight, then, man, you're crazy. Like, if you knew what he did, like, he stays in the house doing therapy, cryo, I mean, everything all day. So his whole thing is just boxing. And that's amazing to see, like, I mean, he's in Dallas. He hadn't seen his son. He hadn't seen his parents. I mean, nothing. He's just, like, all 100% in.
I remember when we had that conversation and you were talking about him, and I say from an outside at that time, you know, what happened to Anthony Joshua? You said maybe from what you had saw at that time, you said confidence. Maybe he's a guy who probably needs to get his confidence back. Now that you've been with him, you've had one fight with him, you got another one coming up with Dillian White.
2 weeks, yeah.
Has he gotten that confidence back? Do you think we'll see Anthony Joshua, the heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, like we used to in the past?
I think we will. I think that it's a process, but I think that at the same time, he is gradually getting better. I mean, you'll be able to see it in the fight with the punches that he throws, how is the understanding of what I need him to do. And so in the first fight, he fought the exact fight I wanted him to fight. And so he's that guy. Like, all these guys, Jamel, Errol, Frank, they all do their best to fight the fight that we set out. And that's really what it's about, because you think about it, winning is one thing, but I wanted to be won the way that we prepared to. So, I mean, that's what it is. And with Joshua, he's doing that. He's passing with flying colors.
When did you get the phone call from Ryan Garcia? Because Ryan Garcia is now – how did that come about?
So what happened was Ryan, one night I get a text, and one day I get a text, and I don't know what happened. I went home, and I looked at my iPad. I'm like, what? And I just kind of saw something, and I just kind of didn't look at it. And then my wife was getting her eyebrows arched. And I drove her to the place for some reason. So she's like, I said, I think Ryan Garcia texted me. She's like, what? She said, you should hit him back. I was like, I get around to him. I got some stuff to do. And so later that afternoon, we text back and forth and made it happen.
Talk to me about Ryan Garcia. What was the main thing that he wanted and the reason why he chose you? And when you looked at him, because obviously you've seen the Tank fight and you've seen him fight before, what was the thing Derrick James says, this is what I need out of you going forward to be a part of my stable?
Well, I hadn't only seen him fight but like maybe once or twice. Just like with Joshua, I only seen him fight once or twice. But it's all about a relationship and building relationships, right? Because I think that the better relationship you have with these guys, the more they understand you as an individual, and they know that you're really with them. And so with Ryan, I just think it's more about the relationship. I mean, we go to dinner together, we kind of hang out. He's always hugging. I mean, and I think that you have to be what they need you to be, right, to get the best out of them or the most out of them. So I think that he learns, he's understanding, he's very intelligent, he's very truth-telling. And so that's the thing about him, Joshua, Errol, Jamel. I mean, they're all Frank. I mean, that's what they do. They really kind of want to be who you want them to be.
Were you? What did he say about the night he loses his tank and no one showed up there at the press conference?
We never talked about it.
Never talked about it?
Because I always say, man, that's in the past. Because, I don't really want to – I'm not the guy to talk about your people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The world saw it, so there's nothing I can say about it. I mean, I just say, man, that's in the past. I'm not talking about that. And he never – I just let him know there's not a space you can talk to me about it because I don't want to be – I mean, that's in the past. You don't talk about that.
How difficult is it to, when you have Errol Spence Jr., right. Anthony Joshua,
right.
Ryan Garcia, Jamel Charlo, and now that's 5, really, I mean, you got elite guys, right. Different person. How is it hard to manage them, their personalities, because they're also very different? I mean, you got to be therapists. You got to be a lot of stuff.
Right. You have to be a lot of – it's very exhausting, but what happens is that I have my time in my office. I go in my office. I sit down. I may watch a video of a fight, watch whatever to kind of escape, and then go back out. So it's like I have to be able to reset, go back out, reset, and go back out. So it's like it's cool. It's an amazing idea, right? But it's a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it sounds cool, but it's a job. It's a real job.
I certainly would be remiss if I didn't. You got Jamel Charlo taking on Canelo.
Right.
2 undisputed
right.
fighters.
Right.
He's got an opportunity to make history,
right.
become undisputed in another weight division.
Right.
And 2, by the way. Talk to me about this challenge because people are like, they thought it was Maul that was going to be.
Right.
All of a sudden, they're like, Mel going up 2 weight divisions?
Right.
How do you see this fight?
I think Canelo Alvarez is an amazing fighter. I think that he's at the top of his game. I think that, he's been very consistent, and so just as Jamel. And I think that you'll see, really, Canelo is going to bring out the best in Jamel. Because if not, you got to bring out the best in the fighter. And I think that I would hope that, but maybe, he might not. Because, Canelo may think that I've been fighting these bigger guys. Mm-hmm. What is he going to do to me? Right. So I think that, you kind of, you just never know what his own personal perspective is. But for Jamel, the best fighter in himself has to come out.
Yeah, and people will probably say, Jamel, is he big enough for Canelo? Big enough?
I mean, it's like it's only weight. What I mean by that is like to say that it's only weight because it's like Canelo was the 154-pounder also, and this is the thing about it. He's gotten bigger, not taller. He's still 5'7", 5'8", whatever he is. He's still that. He's just heavier. And so Jamel has the longer reach. Jamel, has the athleticism. I think he just has to be able – we have to put it all together in perspective and the game plan to where we just, maximize what our strengths are.
Are you going to add anybody else to this?
No, I'm retired.
That's it? You're locking it off at these 5, huh?
This 5.
That's it.
I'm done. When I'm saying I'm done.
Yeah.
My nonprofit.
Yeah.
Derrick James Family Foundation. That's all I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
People don't realize, you've said this in the past, that you're not going to be in this fight game for like a long time. I'm talking about being a trainer. Yeah, you said and you're talking about recent, like it may be like 5 years or something, and you may say that's it.
Whenever Ryan or Frank's like they're done, I'm out.
Wow.
I'm because it's like it's so hard. You got to think about this. You're taking power punches from Errol, Jamel, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Frank can punch. Ryan can punch. So it's like you take all that, and it's like managing those situations. Which all the situations are good. It's never the fighter.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, yeah, man. You just kind of like, I wanna be more in my community and do more for the kids, opposed to like I've done it for the fighters. Now it's more about hands-on for the kids in my community, the kids I grew up in, all over in Dallas, Oak Cliff, my area, all over the city. It's like you gotta, you have obligation. This is all part of the plan to be able to do this on this stage, but then take that and implement it into, the inner city.
Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero said, I want to fight Ryan Garcia.
Right.
Ryan Garcia said, that's a fight I want. You see that as his next fight?
Hey, I'm not a psychic, but if I would say I would want that fight also. I mean, I think that you got two guys that really want each other, and that could be possible, and I think that would be dope. You know what I mean? That for them to go, you got 3 world champions, you know, hey, that's a good thing.
Do you see Frank Martin? I mean, he's at 135. Tank Davis is ruling that division.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Devin Haney's the undisputed champ, but
Right.
many believes he's going to move up. You think Frank Martin, future world champion?
I think that, yeah, he is. Yeah,
He's got what it takes?
I mean, no doubt. I think that it's all a process. It's like fight by fight by fight by fight. I think that you face up with different situations. So when you face the guy who has everything, you've seen that before 20 times. You know what I mean? Like, so Crawford going to that, and Errol fighting this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. To where you fight Chris Algieri, which I was going to say something about that, but no, I won't. But you fight Chris Algieri, who's a great fighter, and you fight Kell Brook, you fight Leonard Bundu, you fight, Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia. So you fight all these fighters, and they prepare you for the one guy that they say can do it all. So it's like, that's what these fights were all about. Instead of going straight to this thing and playing it safe, no, we're going to fight this guy, this guy, this guy. So when you fight the guy who has it all, you've already faced that.
People always think about Emmanuel Stewart. Man, that was a great guy. Dundee, phenomenal.
Right.
Am I sitting next to the next best, greatest trainer in boxing?
I think that, I won't say that, I'll just say that my personal goal was always to be the best version, to be my best and to do my best. And being my best and doing my best got me to a particular point. I think that it could be possible. I mean, like, listen, when you think about this, Emmanuel Stewart was somewhere off in the space for me in Dallas, right? Because I had right down the street, we had Gorman Jim, Dave Gorman, and Paul Reyes, Paul had Donald Curry, he had Rockin' Robin Blake, he had Stevie Cruz, he had, I forget the light heavyweight champ, Gene Hatcher. So we had 4 champs all at the same time. So, yeah, we talk about, but in Texas and Fort Worth, I'm talking about Paul Reyes, who's still alive. I'm talking about Dave Gorman, because that was like 40 miles from Dallas and Fort Worth. So I think Emmanuel Stewart was amazing. And I love what he did with all the fighters, but like we had the same thing like right down the street. And people kind of are remiss. They don't really think about it. They don't talk about it. Just like I said, listen, I love Paul Reyes. But just like I can say good stuff about Bomac and what they should have did for him or did to him or whatever, I can say stuff, especially I'm going to say somebody I care about, I like.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this. We call it the last stand, and on this section of the show, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You just give me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Right.
Who's the better trainer, you or Bomac?
Derrick James. He has 4 other guys with him, so it's like, that's a different situation, but come on.
Is Derrick James the best trainer of this generation?
I don't care to be. I just care to be the best version of myself, like I said earlier. I mean, I don't want to say I'm better than everybody else, but I'm not going to say nobody else better than me. That's just the reality of life. But so I'll say I want to be the best version of myself.
Errol Spence becomes the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. First time in his 4-belt era that would have ever happened.
Right.
Floyd didn't do it. Manny didn't do it. Is he the best welterweight of this generation?
Oh, yeah, because no doubt. He's definitely, without a doubt, he's the best welterweight of this generation. Then he'll move up and do whatever. So, yeah, definitely.
Errol Spence told me this is his last fight at 147.
Yeah.
He's moving up. Biggest fight for him in the future, going forward, after this, you think?
I don't know. There are a couple other fights, but I have no idea.
You don't know who would be the biggest fight for him?
Well, I mean, the biggest fight, I don't know.
I mean, people have talked about Canelo. They've talked about a number, but what do you think?
I think, well, really, Canelo would be the biggest fight for anybody. But I think especially for Errol, because those are really like, when it comes to ticket sales in America, Errol sells more than Canelo. So they go neck and neck. So, yeah.
All right. Last but not least, who you think is going to be world champion first out of the Derrick James stable? Will it be Ryan Garcia or Anthony Joshua?
Well, it will be Ryan Garcia because he's going to fight Rolly first.
It's so funny. Everyone always says that when he fight Rolly, you're going to become champion.
I'm not saying, listen, but he's getting the opportunity.
Right first. I got you.
Is what I'm saying. Yes. So not necessarily saying, because if it was Dillian White, then you know, whatever. Yes, yeah.
I love it. I always appreciate you, my brother.
I love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too, man. This guy, best trainer in boxing, Derrick James. He's just being modest, but he knows it's the case. Folks, that's what we do here on The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in the sport, like the best trainer in sport in boxing, Derrick James. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week.